What's your dream car? And what's the difference between a dream car and a fantasy car? Hey, what's up YouTube world? It's Ryan from Riding in Style. And today I wanted to talk about my dream car versus my fantasy car. And what I mean by those two terms is, in my opinion, a dream car is a car that I've really wanted and it's actually achievable. And if I was to buy it, I could say I got my dream car. Fantasy car is that vehicle that's so far out of reach, it's like not even reality to obtain. It's like a fantasy. And if I was ever able to purchase that car, it would just blow me away. Both cars, if I was able to purchase, would blow me away. But that fantasy car is just so far out of reach that it almost seems not possible. Not impossible, just not possible for the time being. And so my dream car is a Dodge Charger Hellcat. $707 horsepower of Mopar madness. I mean, that concept alone, and I've always wanted one since they came out in 2015. But when they first came out, the local dealerships here where I live, they were charging kind of like what the Demon is now. They would actually be above MSRP because of the demand. And people were required to drop 50 grand before they even put an order in. That's just how it was back then. Of course, it's changed a lot now. But I really didn't want to get a 2015 because after researching into the Hellcats, the 2015s into about midway 2016, their superchargers that they had in those cars were faulty. They were having lots of the same manufacturer issues. And so finally, about midway through 2016, Dodge had switched manufacturers for their superchargers. So if I went that route, I would probably look for an older 2016 and maybe even a 2017. But the point is that when they first came out, I already understood the depreciation factor. And of course, it was hard for me to wait because when they first came out, you want to be one of those first guys that have one. And I wasn't about to spend nearly $80,000 to $90,000 trying to just get one. So now that time has passed, they're going for maybe the upper 40,000s to about the mid $50,000 range. And why that is significant is because last year I almost bought a new Scat Pack. And out the door, it would have cost me about $46,000 to $47,000. And that's with all the taxes and the fees. And that's for a 2017 model. Now, in 2018, I can get a 2016 Hellcat for about the same price. And we're talking about a supercharged engine with all the components already in place. Plus, as a 2016, it's still covered under manufacturer's warranty, whereas a 2015 may possibly be nearing the end of the manufacturer's warranty. But I'm still not in a rush to get one. If I was to buy a used Hellcat, I'm hoping to find that seller that maybe went through a midlife crisis and bought one just to have it and just kept it in the garage this whole time. And now decides that they don't need it. They want to sell it. And I want to be there to help them, to take it off their hands. That's what we do. We help people. So that is my dream car. My fantasy car is a Lamborghini Aventador. Ever since I was a kid, I've always been drawn to the Lamborghini, and I think most of us were. Just the aerodynamics that it looked. In my whole collection of Hot Wheels, it's always been the Lamborghinis that stood out and that I wanted to play with, the most. And I never understood why. But now, as an adult, I look back and I can say the appeal was there even from childhood. So this is something that I think a lot of us can relate to, whether it's a Lamborghini, Ferrari, Porsche, whatever your dream car, your fantasy car is. Something about that car draws us to it. Now, there's the Murcielago, the Diablo, the Gallardo, but for me, the Aventador is more appealing. And granted, it's like the second or third highest cost in as far as the trim levels, above the Huracan, but it's the one that I think I could fit in. I mean, it's like their full-size Lamborghini. Again, I'm 6'3", but there's something about that car that just draws me to it. Now, the price is about half a house, maybe 3/4 of a house, maybe a full house, depending on where you live. So my house is like 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, 2-car garage, 2 cars in the driveway. This Lamborghini has 2 seats. There's no back seat. So it's very unpractical for me. And the trunk, which is located in the front under the hood, can barely fit my gym bag in it. So very unpractical or impractical. But it does have 12 cylinders. And I know with gas prices going up, it just seems even more impractical. But like I said, it's a fantasy car. It's that car that keeps me pushing forward, thinking that what if one day this became a reality? What if? We always need to have that driving force inside of us to keep us going. I'm just that kind of competitive person where I'm always striving for the next great thing. I'm always striving for the next level, whatever it is, and call it being a perfectionist or my own worst enemy. But I've just kind of learned to never be satisfied. And so I have the dream car that right now is actually obtainable. And then there's that fantasy car that, right now, the cheapest one I've seen is about 250 grand. You can get a customized one on the website, a 2018, for like between $500,000 and $600,000. Now that's kind of where our mortgages lie. That's how much a lot of homes cost. And our monthly payment is based on a 30-year loan. You put that into a car, it becomes a 5 and 6 year loan. So you're looking at a $7,000 or $8,000 a month payment. So yeah, that's not me. But if one fell into my lap. Now here's the interesting thing I'm going to say about that. My dream car, which is the Hellcat, actually has more horsepower than my fantasy car. Well, with the new Aventadors, I think they've lapped the Hellcat. I think they're pushing about 710 to maybe 720 horsepower. But that's beside the point. Before, Lamborghinis were just untouchable. Nothing even came close. But Dodge has stepped up their performances to where these cars are over horsepowering the competition for a fraction of the cost, making it more appealing to everyday people like us. So the last thing I'll say is I've watched a couple of YouTube channels. There was this guy, his name is Will Motivation. And I've watched him pretty much evolve where, he's self-employed. And then I've watched him buy his dream car, which was a Lamborghini Huracan. And I was so proud. When humble people get blessed, it just makes me smile. I don't get jealous. I don't become a hater. I actually become very motivated and very excited to watch, the progression and to see these people actually achieve their goals. Now with that, I'll say that he just bought himself a fun car. Aside from his Lamborghini Huracan that's already in his garage, he went ahead and bought himself a Dodge Challenger Hellcat. So even more so, I'm like, this guy has got both of my dream cars in his driveway. But again, not being jealous, maybe a little jealous, but in a good way. Enough jealousy to fuel this fire inside of me to say it's possible. It's very possible. Now, I wouldn't need both of them. The funny thing is, if I had the keys to both of them, one in each hand, I wouldn't know which one I would want more. If I could only choose one. because the dream car and the fantasy car, I mean, price not being an option, it's still very close in my hunger, you know, and the Hellcat just seems more obtainable because it's like a tenth of the cost. So anyway, guys, I just wanted to make this short video to share with you my dream car versus my fantasy car. What are your dream cars and what are your fantasy cars? Let me know in the comments below. This is Ryan from Riding in Style.
You